What's going on, you loyal listeners? Thank you for tuning in to the L Squared podcast. I'm your host here, Luke Larson, and joining me today, as per the usual, my lovely and loquacious special guest will be assisting me in leisurely launching you into levity old legs.
How we doing? Dude? We made it! Another year in L Squared history. Can you believe it, man?
The haters are pissed right now.
2021.
Some people said we couldn't do it.
New year, new me. New year, new pod.
Yeah, okay, sure. It's kind of the same.
Yeah, we made it. This is our annual top 10 podcast. This is one of my favorite podcasts to do every year.
Absolutely.
With you. I love looking back. I love kind of that being able to reflect on the year that it was, where it stands, how it shaped up compared to years previous. These are some of my favorite movie conversations, and plus we get to do a little bit on our favorites from the year. So yeah,
absolutely. And last year 2020 was obviously such a odd year, and so in 2021 it felt like name one thing that happened that was odd. But in 2021 it felt like a lot of the movies that were delayed that were supposed to come out in 2019, a lot of them came out in 2021. And so we kind of got some dribble from that, which was cool.
I think a lot, actually.
I think quite a bit, yeah. I think most of these. So it's kind of cool to see what the multiverse 2020 that doesn't have COVID, what movies we would have seen if that didn't happen. But I'll say this year was great. It was jam-packed. It was really hard to make this list.
I think we talked about this maybe in 2020, late 2020, when it felt like we were going to start to get things back. But I'm pretty sure we talked about the idea that like 2021 could be like an all-time great movie year, just because of so many projects being delayed, pushed, wanting to get a theatrical release. And I honestly think it delivered. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, big time. So this is kind of a tradition we do now, but I always like to look back at what our top 10s were from the year before. And 2020 was such a weird year, with, like we said, movies getting delayed, and so it made for two really weird top 10 lists for both of us,
right? I
think. But do you have your top 10 ready to go?
I do, yeah. So I'm gonna go from 10 to 1. So 10, I had a film called Sea Fever. Did you ever end up seeing this movie?
I didn't. No.
It's really good.
Yeah,
it's good. 10, Sea Fever. 9, Tenet. Nolan.
Right.
8, Host. That was the Zoom horror film.
Oh yeah.
Which I think is probably like the only good like COVID media to come out of like the whole pandemic. The Rental. Had that one.
Is that Dave Franco?
Yep, Dave Franco's directorial debut. Uber killer, or not the Uber, the
Airbnb.
House rent, Airbnb killer. Yeah. The Babysitter, Killer Queen, the third Babysitter film.
Weird.
And then we get a little bit more Palm Springs here. Palm Springs, My Octopus Teacher. Then I get weird with the 7th annual Live on Cinema Oscar special. And then I did a TV episode. I did the Euphoria special. That was an hour long. Loved it. And then I finished off the year with Shithouse, which I do really still adore that movie. So that was my 10. Kind of a weird year.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And so I like that your 10 sort of matched how weird of a year it was.
Right.
Yeah, I had The Invisible Man, which I think was like the last movie I saw before both of us before everything, before theaters shut down. Small Town Wisconsin, that one still hasn't gotten a wide release. I saw that at the film festival. The Way Back, the Ben Affleck alcohol basketball movie. That was pretty good. Bad Education. That was the Hugh Jackman one that was on exclusively HBO that no one has talked about before or since.
No.
But it was good. Scare Me, that was a Shudder original, Josh Rubin's directorial debut. Love that one. I just watched that one again the other night. I've watched that like 4 or 5 times. I really, really like that movie. The Wolf of Snow Hollow. I'm always a sucker for a werewolf movie, and we got a good werewolf movie last year.
I still think that's like a made up movie. Like you were just like, you came down to the wire and you're like, I gotta write 10 things down, and and he's not gonna call me on this. Like
and you didn't. No,
Still
you're like,
haven't.
yeah, cool. That sounds cool, man.
I was like, oh yeah, no, I saw that. Yeah.
I had Shithouse at 4, Ringo Levio at number 3. Great movie. That one's on Prime now. Sound of Metal 2, and Palm Springs is my number 1. Good list. Looking back, I definitely would have switched Shithouse and Palm Springs. Shithouse should have been my number 1 last year for sure. That's the one that I think about the most out of any of those movies.
The breakfast burritos, man.
Sound like a lot. Yep.
Sounds like
a lot right
like a lot right now. Yeah, just
And no one talks about Shithouse. You're the only person I've ever heard talk about it. Like I haven't seen anybody give it any
issue.
It's kind of an issue. Yeah, let's get the word out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm excited to see what we have in store. Are you ready to go?
Yeah, I think so. And I believe this year it is on me to start us off here. So let's do it.
Like we'll do the same format. We'll alternate, do 2 of yours, then 2 of mine, 2 of yours, and we'll make our way through it.
Yep. Here we go.
You okay there? Jesus. This is Ed Warner here with Lorraine. All right, sir.
Let's get started. So my number 10 movie of the year is The Conjuring. Devil Made Me Do It. 3rd Conjuring movie.
Wow.
I loved it, man.
Wow.
This is I had some really good theater experiences this year. I don't know if it was just because we were getting back to actually get to go, but this was an awesome movie to see in the theater. I still think about that opening scene where the kids just going crazy, and I think that's my favorite scene of the year. I thought we maybe did that last year, just like favorite scene, something like that, stuff like that. But I was thinking about it, and I'm like, that's like one of the best scenes I've seen all year, and so it made my list.
Yeah, we talked about it when we did a full Conjureverse episode earlier this year. We talked about all the Conjuring movies, including that one. I shouldn't be surprised that it made your list, but yeah, it was good. I think that because your favorite Conjuring is the second one, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so
kids are just real spooky.
Yeah. But I think what I liked about this third one was that they tried something a little different. You know, it wasn't the same old like haunted house, spooky stuff, something's wrong. With the kids, it was a little bit different of a take on it, and it worked really well.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I got a lot of surprising like meme fuelage out of this movie, just like texting, like you shouldn't take lightly a master Satanist. Like that shit's just like funny, and I kind of like that they're leaning into it. And Conjuring movies, man, I love it. Adam Lorraine, number 10 for me. Sign me up.
All right.
They're in the front seat for Conjuring 4.
Always starts the same.
Yep. Now I'm gonna kick it to you. Number 10. What do you got?
Tell me a tale of yourself, so that I might know thee. I've none to tell yet.
It's in our contract. We're contractually obligated that every year at least one A24 movie has to make the list. So my number 10 favorite movie of 2021 was The Green Knight.
Wow, there you go. Not on my list, so take it away.
Yeah, this was one that I was debating putting on, and it was kicking around the bottom of my list. But it ended up landing at number 10. It was one that I was so hyped for.
Yes.
One of the all-time best trailers. A24 is great at trailers. And I was so hyped for it. I read the poem. I did some research before it.
Right.
So I was very excited for it, and I liked it. I don't think I loved it. But the thing is, this movie just really sat with me, and it really it grew on me like the foliage of the Green Knight, and
Yeah,
it just kept it stuck in there.
Kind of a Green Knight kind of guy.
I'm kind of a Green Knight kind of guy now. Yeah. So we did talk about it in depth earlier this year, so you guys can go check out that episode. But it was definitely one that I didn't think would make my top 10. But the more it sat with me, just the filmmaking aspect of it and how David Lowery really took a lot of chances with it and stylized it a lot. And I really appreciate that. So
The candor.
Yeah.
Alicia. I'm still holding out hope. I think Best Actress might be in play.
She's your lady.
Yes, she should win. She should win for this. I'm saying it right now, just for the listeners.
Sure.
She probably will win. So great pick, number 10. I enjoyed that film.
All right, what's your number 9?
Number 9 is another great trailer movie. I told Luke I was going to play the entire trailer for all my films. Yeah. So at number 9, I have the Swedish documentary Lamb.
The documentary.
Yes.
I knew it was coming. It did not make my list.
Okay. Lamb, this one is near and dear to my heart as a proud sheep farmer.
Yeah.
This is basically my life, and I see this quite a bit. I thought it was a very accurate representation of
just the day-to-day.
Yeah, exactly. The day-to-day of being, a shepherd and your flock, and not a whole lot else is going on, and that's fine. So Lamb was on my list. I was kind of already in the bag for it. I think we hit the 2 best trailers of the year just back to back, right?
Yep, both A24s, both. Yeah, definitely 1 and 2 best trailers of the year.
So it's memorable. I'm never going to forget it. I love being able to go see it, and that is my number 9.
Yep, and we did an episode on it a few months ago. Go check that out. Okay, and now for my number 9.
Maurizio Gucci. We are a family business. Gucci, it is an empire.
Worth, style, power.
Gucci is like a cake. When you have a taste, when you want more, And then you'll want the whole thing for yourself.
Gucci needs no blood.
What game are you playing?
Can you keep a secret? Father, son, and house of Gucci.
Number 9, House of Gucci.
Take it away. Wow, look at how far we've grown apart. This is gonna be 20 films for the listeners.
I know. I know.
Yeah, the single overlap, and yeah, this
That a
one
one.
did not make my list. So give me your Gucci.
Yeah.
Wristwatch here.
You know, this was one we talked about, and this was one that I didn't know what to expect going into it. I just wasn't sure. I thought I might hate it. You know, I wasn't really sure, and I ended up just having a fucking ball with it. It's just so much fun. All the performances are dialed up to 11. Everybody's hamming it up. It's all style over substance, and the soundtrack is showy. You know, the fashion is showy. The acting is showy. It's just a big fat ham sandwich, and I loved every minute of it.
Big fat, again, back-to-back documentary.
Yeah, right.
Big year for documentary film, and I would include House of Gucci in there, right along with the best. Yeah.
Yep. Best Pacino, most unhinged Pacino performance in a long time.
In a while, yeah.
In quite a while.
And you could say that he is maybe doing Al Pacino karaoke at this point. But
Yeah.
I guess I'm here for it. So yeah,
Yep.
I wasn't this high on Gucci, but I don't mind the pick.
Thank you.
So
Okay. What do you have for number 8?
number 8 needs no introduction. You knew it was coming.
Surprised it wasn't number 1. Adam Driver sticking around.
The ape of God. Actually, yes. So yeah, my number 7 is Annette, a
Wow.
film that I loved very much, and I foisted on it basically everyone that would sit down and watch a movie, which I think fortunately for people in general was just you and Uncle Chuck.
And Uncle Chuck, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and big that was our big get back moment of the year, was that you weren't included on the Annabelle pod. That was
Right.
that almost broke us up behind the
Well,
scenes.
no, the thing was that I was on the fucking Annabelle pod, and I was left off the Annette pod.
Oh,
So
my bad.
like a double slap in the face. You watch Annabelle, and then I almost actually, like, you know how like players like hold out in training camp? Like I
Yeah.
kind of want to hold out until I get an Annette pod. Even give my takes.
You're not gonna finish the rest
That's
of the
how much-
episode.
That's how much I'm gonna leave it here. It's number 7 on my list, and I'm holding out some incredible takes for a fully guaranteed pod.
Wow.
I want that Kirk Cousins guarantee on my Annette pod before you get the takes. So yeah, I gave you the song. I gave you "We Love Each Other So Much," which is an incredible hit. And that's my film, man. This is how good this year is. So
Yeah.
I would say, looking back last year, I think it's close between, like, I was trying to think, like, would this have been my best movie last year? And it's close. It's close. I think my next movie is really close too. And then after that, like, from
They're all
six
number
times
ones.
would have all been my number one movie last year.
Yeah.
So that's how this is. And again, I'm going to go back to the sports analogy. 2021, if this were a draft class, we got big movies up top, and I felt like it was deep.
Yep. Totally agree. It was really hard to make, but
So yeah. Release the Annette pod is all I'm going to say.
okay. We'll get to that. So now my number 8.
What's Candyman?
Speaking of Snyder Cut.
Things happen. But they're still happening. Tell everyone.
Boom.
Snyder, right?
Candyman.
The Candyman.
Candyman came out.
Oh,
We never-
wow.
We made the list, man. I don't know if we ever did a pod about it, but we saw this together. Came out at
did.
the end of the summer, and
I
I
was
just-
not as high on this film.
yeah, I loved it, man. I just was like, to me, it's like this was a perfect movie. Like it was just,
Wow, perfect
like-
movie.
it was just exactly what it was trying to be. It hit
But not
every.
scary, not
Yeah,
as good as the original.
not as good as the-
If those were like what it was trying to be, then yeah,
I think you're blinded by
Not all that
your
good.
love of Virginia Madsen. I think that's
it's also in the remake.
yeah, she
um,
is quite a bit. I just
wow.
loved it, man. I thought it was really good, really well made.
I don't want to
Uh,
spoil anything. Is this your favorite horror film of the year?
Not exactly,
Okay, because that
but
like
maybe.
wow, that's crazy. Okay, so Candyman, yeah, Candyman is not on my list.
I was surprised that where it made it, but
Snyder Cut's just higher, right? It's
we got a long list. That's only my number 8, so we got a long way to go.
You're right.
Yeah,
That's low. That's low for the cut.
yeah. So
Um,
it was really good. I mean, we didn't talk about it on the show, but I really liked it, and it was another one that just stuck with me. I really liked how they decided to remake it, and for me, it was just pitch perfect. It just hit every note right, and it was interesting, and it was cool, man. So I dug it. You're up.
I guess, yeah. How can I follow that up? This is how.
C'est son épouse, n'est-ce pas? C'est juste exactement c'est ça. Les stigmates.
Jésus-Christ a choisi notre bienheureuse sœur,
Santa Benedetta.
Benedetta. Vous me trouvez trop pro à croire à ce miracle?
Je pense que vous n'y croyez pas du tout.
Once again, based on a true story. Another document. No, I'm just kidding. That's a dumb bit. I'm gonna stop it. My number 6 is a movie that this is the most recent film that I have seen on my list. So probably the last edition, and this is Paul Verhoeven's Benedetta.
Oh, okay. I've never even heard of this.
I texted you about it. I think I put something in the group chat, and it's one of those things.
Yeah.
I come to expect it.
Yeah.
I really have come to expect it. No, Benedetta. This is like the horniest nun movie I think you'll ever see. It's a super, like, just like I said, 16th century plague time. I don't know if the plague was in the 16th century, but that time period. And yeah, it's two nuns at a conclave who get eyes for each other, and one might be capable of performing miracles, and and Jesus Christ is like the Punisher in this movie. It's awesome. Shows up in just like sword and sandals and just like mowing people down.
Wow.
It's incredible. I can't believe it. Paul Verhoeven, he's got to be like in his 80s. For those like, so RoboCop, Starship Trooper, like a bunch of real good popcorn flicks. And I just can't believe that he's just pumping it out at this age and just being like, you know what? That's the movie I want to make. I love this film. And this is where I'm like teetering. Like it might have been my favorite last year, maybe not. But from this point on, all bangers.
Wow.
And yeah, I would just say I recommend go out, check it out. Benedetta, very good.
Okay. Wow. All right. So then we're to my number 7.
Yep.
America's on fire right now. The Black Panthers are forming a rainbow coalition of oppressed brothers and sisters of every color. These ain't no terrorists. When I dedicated my life to people, I dedicated my life. Neutralize them by any means necessary.
So this won some Oscars this last year. It was one that, for us, it came out in February of 21, and it was one that I didn't see that in for 2020, so I couldn't include it in that one. But Judas and the Black Messiah, I just loved it so much. I was like, this was one that I wrote down. It's like I have to include this on this upcoming year's list because I liked it so much. Daniel Kaluuya, Lakeith Stanfield, about the Black Panthers. We talked about it in depth on an episode really early on last year, but it's just a really, really good movie.
Yeah, so this one's not on my list either. And so I sort of thought of it as a 2020 movie because I feel like that's when there was the most discourse about it. And obviously, you know, it was up for Oscars that year as well. So I'm not sure. I haven't really thought about it if it would make my list. But yes, I did enjoy that film. And again, that's like kind of, I feel like that was kind of one of the moments where it's like, okay, like we're getting back into it. Like movies are starting up again. Cause that was like a big movie, which really fun. Cause we really hadn't had anything since, I mean, like, you know, the way back. Right.
Yeah.
It was like the last like real movie that was released. So
yeah, for real.
So good stuff.
What do you got?
I got my trailer is not up. So keep riffing.
Yeah.
No, I'm just
well, okay. Say I keep going.
And this one doesn't take much introduction at all. So
Have you ever had any difficulty getting to sleep or staying asleep?
there it is. You hear that Electric Youth just coming through your speakers.
What number is this for you?
This would be number 6. You just said 6. Yeah. Yeah, so this has come true.
This is also my number 6. The same placement.
Okay, so we finally did it. Okay.
We did it.
We usually do it at least once. So this is perfect. We can both talk about it here. So this was I don't know how I found out about this movie, but I just flipped it on and it kind of grabbed me. And then within 30 minutes, I was so in. I wanted to go meet the Dream Lord. The music, this is probably the best soundtrack of the year, I would say.
Yeah, it's up there.
I had high hopes for Dune, for Arrakis, but that one definitely let me down. The soundtrack.
Yeah, right.
Come on, Hans. Step it up. That 9 instrument. We'll get there, but
Yeah.
yeah, Come True. I love this movie.
Yeah. So when you asked if,
Seen it maybe 3 times, like maybe
damn,
I haven't seen a lot of movies even twice this year, but this one was
yeah.
Yeah.
This one is so good. And we talked about it earlier in the year. We did a deep dive on it. And yeah, I loved it. This was one that you said you gotta see, and I did it. So there's proof that I do actually watch the movies you tell me to watch sometimes.
Yep.
I
knew how to market it to you though.
Yeah.
I was like, there's this movie, and it's it's just you're riding your bike around, you're sleeping at the park, and it's gonna get a little dreamy.
Yeah, and I was all the way in, ended up buying basically that same bike that she had in the movie too. And I listened to this fucking soundtrack when I would bike around town. I mean, it really got very, very weird, but very meta. Yeah. So it's just a great sci-fi horror, really dreamy movie that is just ambitious and has a phenomenal lead who's just like a monolith. She gives a great performance, and this is another one that nobody talks about, but it was great. It was made with just a skeleton crew, and it's really good and really unique, and more people should see it. So go see Come True for sure.
Yeah. Like I said, we did a pretty deep dive on it, I would say. And we both really enjoyed this film. Both really enjoyed Pilot Priest plus Electric Youth. Like I'm ready for more music. And then like Luke was saying, Julia Sarah Stone, this is the first thing that I had ever seen her in, but she was really good. So I'm excited to see where that goes. So so that takes care of both of our number 6s. So do you want to, are you going to jump me here?
Take over. Yeah, I can do that. We'll go to my number 5.
So I did that, so mine's last.
My boyfriend. Listen, young lady, you don't bring this idiot to Shabbat dinner here.
Listen, Dad, he's an atheist and an actor, and he's famous.
But he's Jewish.
He was gonna take me out of here, Essie. Don't you even look at me. Don't you even look at me. You're always looking at me. What are you doing?
Say anything. You have to say it.
What are you thinking, huh? I'm Essie. I work for Mom and Dad. I'm perfect. I'm a real estate agent. Alana doesn't have her life together. Alana brings home stupid boyfriends all the time. All right, I knew it. I knew that was what you were thinking. You're always thinking things, you thinker. You thinker. You think things.
Number 5, Licorice Pizza.
Let's save it. We gotta table that one.
Okay. All right.
We gotta table that one. So
Okay.
that one is coming up later in my list, so we will talk about it then. So we'll move right along here. So my number 5 then is next up. If you're thinking there, wow, all I can hear is car noises. Like what is that? Is that an engine revving? Well, we'll get ready because number 5, Start Your Engines, was Titan.
We're gonna save that one for a little bit later.
We might save it. So yeah, that is my number 5 for you. So I'll pass it right along.
Okay. So then we will go to my number 4.
You understand who you are, my dear. It's currency. There has to be 2 of you.
Spencer is my number 4. The Princess Diana, Kristen Stewart vehicle that I was, again, I was so high on, and we never talked about it on the pod, but it was just, I wasn't, all I really saw before was just the still picture of her looking just like Princess Diana. And I was like, I'll probably see that. And I went and saw it in the theater, and it freaking just transported me, man. It was just, what a beautiful piece of art that was just like, it was gorgeous and subtle and understated, and themes of going to your family on the holidays and like being uncomfortable and not really wanting to be around them, but also feeling weird that you feel uncomfortable. And then all the pressure on her as being the princess, and her just wanting to be there for her kids and struggling with the duality of the public persona that she has to be. And it's great. And right after I saw it, I was like, Old Legs has been on the Kristen Stewart train for quite a few years now. And he's been on board way early. And so when I saw this one, I was like, this joined my Christmas rotation. This is going to be a Christmas movie for me, probably every year going forward. And it was just wonderful. Kristen Stewart gives a great performance, but
better than Happiest Season.
I haven't seen Happy Season in quite a while.
Well,
so
Happiest Season is that'll replace Spence. I love that pick, and I'm a little jealous because that is one of the few movies that I didn't have a chance to see yet. And that's not like a braggy thing or anything. I just thought I saw a lot of movies this year, and I felt really good about the ones that I had seen. Usually, so like when we kind of start getting ready for this, I feel like, I don't know, maybe you were different, but in years past, I've just been like cramming stuff, trying to watch this, that, and this, that to get to everything. But I didn't have a ton that I feel like I really needed to see this year. I was just going to give you my list. Here's some movies I didn't see. So these could potentially have been on my list, but West Side Story, I missed it in theaters and then streaming. So I think it'll come back to streaming. Those confuse me. The Worst Person in the World, that completes the Oslo trilogy. Really excited about that. Souvenir 2, Souvenir Part 2. I really wanted to see that. Drive My Car, Last Duel. Didn't see Last Duel. Didn't see Zola either, the A24 joint. Red Rocket, I'll probably see at some point, and then Spencer was kind of one that I really wanted to see. So those are the ones that like I feel like could have maybe had potential to be on my list, just didn't see yet. So I'm jealous.
Couple of those.
I'm happy.
Thanks.
You're finally with me. You're on the winning team now.
Go check it out.
Yeah, I'm excited. I might do it tonight.
Okay.
You got me excited for it.
Okay.
So,
what do you got for us now?
So this is the true squareheads out there, the fanatics. They know that I like to get a little loose, a little loosey goosey with these lists sometimes. So this is where I'm going to take some liberties here, and I'm going to go out on a bit of a limb. And I'm probably going to really irritate Luke, but I got to do it. I got to do it. So, without further ado, number 4.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, and dudes of all teenagers, as well as the gals. My name is Christian Chandler. I am here, and y'all are there.
Christian. Arguably the most documented person in history.
Arguably the most documented person in history. Chris Chan, A Comprehensive History This is a 59-part documentary on YouTube, directed and created by Gino Samuel 2.1. He's just shaking his head right now. Luke is so irritated.
Yeah,
This
of course
might be
you would
the
do
last
this.
pod- I might not get re-signed.
Yeah.
after
I
this
gotta.
year. So, like I said, great year for documentary filmmaking. So I was between this and a film that Luke and I talked about for almost an hour before we recorded this pod, the Beatles doc, the Get Back. I was between these two. I was like, I have to have like one or the other. And of course, I picked the story of Christian Weston Chandler, Christine Weston Chandler, who, this is relevant, even though the documentary wasn't all complete in this year, it was relevant because Chris Chan, the star of the documentary, was arrested for having relations with his mom. So this story is ongoing. But it's incredible. I wish I had more people to talk about Chris Chan with. It is the dumbest thing on the internet.
How many hours is it?
It's around 60.
Yeah.
And I watched it all. It has become, as old Chuck phrased to me, this has become my Doors of Stone. I'm every couple weeks I check to see if there's a new episode. Every time I'm let down. But I'm just preparing you right now, Luke, because there absolutely, positively will be a Chris Chan movie. I promise you. Wow. There's going to be big names, big stars in it, and I think it might actually probably be pretty good. So there you go. Chris Chan,
when you
comprehensive history.
When you told me about this movie, was
thank you for calling it a movie. Hey, YouTube, man. There's a YouTube movie is gonna win an Oscar someday. Okay, let's not be the oldest heads like ever. Okay.
I had a flat tire on the bike trail, and I was about 4 or 5 miles into it, and I was making my way back to my car in the July heat, bearing down on me. And all that you can talk to me about is Chris Chan and trying to explain to me why this is important and why I should be watching it. And I'm like, yeah, this is exactly what I want to hear right now. I'm just dying, baking alive for hours as Old Legs is just pumping me full of this bullshit.
I really did. Like, I think for like a solid 2-week period, I would like force the conversation, sort of like I forced Annette onto people.
Yeah.
I forced the Chris Chan conversation with multiple individuals, and I'm not proud that I watched it, but oh man, there's just something weird about the internet, and you put people on there with no supervision, and it's just awful.
For some reason, it reminds me a little bit. Obviously, it's on a whole other level, but similar feeling to TFWGF, that face when no GF.
Yeah.
The 4chan doc.
It's for sure. It's like the underbelly of the internet. Like you said, the 4chan Reddit boards, Reddit, Stigma mails, just a lot of pent up weird teen angst that just comes out on.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what I would have done as like a 13-year-old growing up.
Yeah, for real.
So there it is. Check it out.
Okay. So then,
man,
gonna have to do it. Yeah, maybe we'll do the comprehensive L squared. We'll do a 60-hour episode about it someday.
Gino needs to do it about us.
We should do like we did with the Snyder Cut. Do a watch along of the whole thing.
Great. Straight. No,
Just
no
straight,
breaks.
no breaks. Yeah,
No breaks.
that'd be great. All right, so then
Like hands
my
on a hard body.
yeah, exactly. My number 3.
Fire it up.
Do you often dream things that happen just as you dreamed them? Yes. The test is simple. Remove your hand from the box. And you die.
Another A24, most anticipated of the year, of the last couple years for you. Dune.
Yep. We gotta wait. Not too long.
Okay,
Not too long.
that's what I figured, but
Yep. But it's coming up. It's coming
okay.
up. Don't worry. The Rude Dooner. The Rude Dooner's gonna make a reappearance here. So my number 3.
How'd you become such a hotshot actor?
I'm shy. That's what I'm meant to do. You know where? Yeah. Do you know who my girlfriend is? Oh, Shizan? Or Sand.
Right.
Yeah,
Sand.
Yes. Yes. I recognize you, Luke. You're
Yeah.
from the streets.
Yeah, we speak the same language.
You speak the same language. All right,
Yeah.
get in there. Yeah. This was my number 3. This would easily have been my number 1 last year and probably the year before.
Yep.
Our Lord and Savior, He hath returned.
Yep.
PTA, He needs no introduction. Paul Thomas Anderson and Licorice Pizza.
Yep.
Damn, I love this film. Like it didn't let me down at all. You don't let me down like I did leaving off the Beatles doc for but I love Licorice Pizza, and we didn't really get a chance to talk about it.
No,
So,
we didn't, unfortunately.
what were your thoughts? Give me this is your number 5 or
Yep,
4?
my number 5. Yep. Yeah, I loved it. We got to see this together, which we were like, we have to see this together, and we obviously love PTA. This was one that, like, similar to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, like I felt similarly about this, of just like, you know, with that, it was like, look, it's a new Quentin Tarantino movie. It's set in the 70s, whatever. I'm gonna go watch it. You know, I don't really care. I don't want to see anything. Same with Licorice Pizza. Like, I don't really know what it's about. Takes place in the 70s. It's a new PTA. I'm on board, you know. So I was excited to see it, but I didn't really know what to expect, and I had a great time. And it's just like, it's hard to, it's a movie that's kind of about a woman, kind of a young woman sort of embarrassing herself and putting herself in these odd situations. And, you know, it's so angsty, and you feel like you're in that time, and so funny. Oh my God, like wall to wall, just hilarious. I mean, again, probably things that maybe aren't funny to everybody, or maybe weren't intended to be funny, but just like,
It's a funny movie.
it's a funny
I think
movie.
it's funny.
Yeah,
This is the funniest movie of the year.
yeah, for sure.
Like this movie killed me. Yeah, Paul Thomas Anderson starring or featuring, I guess for kind of the first time, Elena Haim.
Yeah,
A rumored just fucking flat out like cool person, like the Haim sisters.
Yeah.
I've just like read stories for like years. I think like one of them dated one of the Migos. Like just
Wow.
all time like sick hang.
yeah,
And I feel like the way this like came together was literally just like Paul Thomas Anderson hanging out with Elena Haim at a party and be like, fuck, like it's fucking cool. Like I should just like put her in a movie. and see what happens. And she's awesome. You know, you have her, you have Cooper Hoffman in his sort of debut, and
Yeah.
I just loved it. I love everything about it, and I didn't want to make the mistake that I feel like I've done, where like his last movie, Phantom Thread, I think I ranked it lower than I thought, like, or I maybe should have. And then like 8-10 months, a year goes by, and you're looking back and you're like, fucking like Phantom Thread, that was probably the best movie of the year, you know? And I didn't want to make that mistake here, and so I wanted to give it its due. And yeah, so it's number 3 for me.
Yeah, sometimes those movies just like take a while to really seep in, and so that you can fully appreciate the master, because it's like it's jam packed in there, just how beautiful it is, how great the performances are, how like we've talked about for years on the show, speaking of the Squareheads, about like how aesthetics and like we don't really gravitate as much toward plot heavy movies. You know, it's more about a feeling and situational stuff, and this is just a clear example of that. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah. One other thing, and this, you know, I'm giving it a little bit more time because we didn't really get a chance to talk about this, but and it's not necessarily to do with the film itself, but I realized something about myself, in that I have been this summer, and I'm so happy for it, completely spoiled by being able to see films at the State Theater.
Yes.
Because we didn't see this one at the State. We saw it at the fucking Cinemark. And it's the first time I've been in there in 15 months. And I was like, this place is it's a cesspool. Like I was like surrounded by like a family of 6 in their pajamas. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like I immediately wanted to leave. I've become that guy, a theater snob. Like I think I'd rather drive farther now just to like see it in a nice theater. It was jarring.
Yeah, big ups. Like this was the first year, like we've said it for years, where we're like, we wish we had a movie theater that we could go see new independent movies and foreign films. And it's like, it just happens to be the best fucking theater around. Is the State. They came in clutch time and time again, and it's like,
it's shocking. Like
it is like, how does this place exist? And
I couldn't believe that. Like I was just it was like Plato just like walking out of the cave, you know?
Yeah.
And just seeing the light. So I was spoiled, and I can't wait to go back. And that was my only gripe with Licorice Pizzas. I had to see it at the Cinemark. I was like, oh god. But I mean, you got to do what you got to do. So
yeah.
All
right.
So that brings us back to you.
So my number 2.
Last night I saw something in my dreams, but they're not just dreams.
What did you see?
A girl murdered in the past. I'm not crazy. I have to find out what happened. I don't want to do this.
We can go.
My number 2, Last Night in Soho, Edgar Wright's newest movie.
This one didn't make my list. And I think once again, this wasn't something that we got to talk about, right?
No, we didn't.
Go ahead. So this movie, I just didn't like love it. So
yeah,
I'm interested to hear what you think about it.
So like when I compile my list every year, I'm not doing like a top 10 like best movies of the year. I am always doing my top 10 movies. So the movies that I'm not saying this to you. I'm just
put the Chris Chan doc on my list.
Yeah. Well, yeah, okay. So there you go. I mean, I'm just putting on 10 that like
Yeah.
really made me feel, a certain way. And I'm not saying that these are the top 10 most perfect movies of the year. Like I Last Night in Soho isn't a perfect movie, but I'll just say that like we're huge fans of Edgar Wright. I didn't like Baby Driver. I tried to talk myself into liking it for years, but I really didn't like it. I think I might like the opening and the first act, and there's parts of it I like, but overall I don't like that movie. And it's probably got a lot to do with Ansel Elgort, but anyway. But that was like the first time that I was like, hey, maybe Edgar Wright isn't just an A+ guy. And so like when this was his newest one coming out, I thought, hey, looks like a lot of neon, looks like kind of a period, whatever. Like it looks interesting. I'll see it. Yeah, our girl, Tom. And I gotta say, I loved it. I mean, it's just this great little movie that's quaint, and it's this small town girl going to London to be a fashion designer. And she's sort of got these kind of like psychic-y abilities. And when she's in London, she taps into the ghosts of some ghosts in the past, that she starts getting transported at night back to London in the 60s. And just seeing that in the theater of just like being transported, coming out into London, seeing Thunderball on the marquee for the movie, and that amazing music and the visuals, and just being transported there just like made me feel amazing, and like nothing else I felt. And so I loved it. I love the noir. I thought it was super fun. There are parts of it that drag and parts that don't 100% work for me, but just like, I think this is the best soundtrack of the year. This was the soundtrack that I put on a million times, that I listened to. It's all old 60s stuff, but I loved it. I love this movie. This is one that I will rewatch maybe the most out of all these. But it was just one that really hit home, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah. I liked it, and I think so after watching it, I think this is like probably the one movie I do regret not seeing in theaters. So you mentioned that you saw it in theaters, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I ended up renting it. I saw it a little bit later. And I was sort of wishing, because yeah, like you said, the presentation, I thought you were bigger on Baby Driver, but I thought I was the only one that was like kind of on it. But for all the same reasons that you said, the authenticity of it, like I thought of the marquee too, and another film that just brought up again, like that got pushed, but yeah, like a No Time to Die, coming out this year. But yeah, I liked, not loved, Last Night in Soho, but I could see why it's on your list. You haven't made an egregious area, which is surprising, because normally that happens.
Normally you're very upset at
Actually,
me.
you know what? It did. Yeah, Candyman was crazy. So you didn't get out completely unscathed, but yeah, Last Night in Soho. So
Plus it's original, great original movie too.
Right. Yeah. I maybe should give it more credit for that, but because we don't see a whole lot of that. And speaking of original, my number 2.
Planet Arrakis is so beautiful when the sun is low. Rolling over the sands, you can see spice in the air. Fires wrapped in showerlands.
The Spice Lords. The spice. You got to let it flow. Number 2 on my list.
Wow.
Zendaya stays at number 2. number one in my heart. Dune, a little movie called Dune. We did an entire podcast on it.
Big
So,
one. Dune, Desert Planet.
Desert Planet. I guess, have you had any other thoughts since we've done the pod, or have you watched it again?
It's a great pod. You should go out and listen to it. Just a theme that we had just been kind of talking about, going out of our way to see movies in theaters. This was the one where we made the big pilgrimage, went way down to Omaha to see it at the best theater in the world, the Alamo Drafthouse. And we went to be with all the other Rude Duners.
Yep.
You know, we went to the nerdiest movie place you could go to see it. And it made the experience all the better. I mean, we talked a lot about Dune in that episode. Go check it out. But I'll just say this was, you know, Denis Villeneuve doesn't miss. He only does A+. He only does 100. This was probably his most ambitious project, and it's the one he's always wanted to do. And the fact that he was able to accomplish so many things with this movie and have it not be a train wreck and have it be so good with this, you know, it's just a huge accomplishment. And yeah, it was something that everybody for decades thought was impossible to do, and Denis found a way to do it, and it's great.
I agree. I mean, I can maybe just, you know, flash my credentials here again, but 6-book reader. I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. I have a still suit that I wear under my normal clothes. I'm always conserving water.
Yeah. You tuck it into your boots, desert fashion.
I do. I'm when I make my way to work, I move as Muad'Dib does, the sand mouse. Yeah, I love Dune. I can't believe it's a good movie. And I'm excited for another one. So Dune 2.
Yeah, for sure.
All
right.
We've made it. Drum roll.
Made it. Okay, so my number one favorite movie of 2020. This was the earlier on in your list where the engines were revving. My number one, Titane.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here it is. Man, I keep trying to think, like, what was our best movie theater experience in these years? Man, this had to be close.
It had to be way up there. Yeah.
It's a fucking adrenaline shot to the arm.
Yeah.
And yeah, we spoke a lot about this. I want to give you the floor because this is your number one film of 2021.
Yeah. This is one that, way up there for theater experiences. We saw it at the State, part of a double feature we saw. And it was one that we were going there to see a different movie. And then you were like, wait, they have Titane? Like, we got to get tickets, dude. Yeah. And we went to see it, and we saw this one before the other one. And after we saw it, we were like, okay, well, the next one there's nothing can follow this movie. But this was the one that, like, is so outlandish and out there and crazy. It sounds like it's a joke, or that it'd be a parody, you know, or that it would just be something that's ridiculous. But it's just such an expertly crafted movie that's, like, I've had the most trouble and the most fun trying to explain to people what this movie's about. That people think you're joking when you say that it gets to moments that are genuinely touching, and, like, you genuinely like feel for these people.
Right.
And like
After
this,
you get done explaining the car sex thing,
yeah.
and you go into that. See, that's how I feel when I talk to people about Chris Chan. You know, it's like no. You gotta like, I don't know if you understand. You know, you gotta. It's really good. You know.
Yeah, you got to
It
get
is.
past it. Yeah, you got to get past the car fucking. You got to get past the pregnancy. The murder spree. The mistaken identity, the trying to be somebody else. The roided up the fire chief, pretending to be somebody's son, and you just get this movie that's got so much heart and feeling, and this movie's got teeth, man. And it's just like, this is just, I mean, you want to talk about like original and unique. There's not another movie like this, and there probably won't ever be one. And this is definitely one that's not for everybody, but we're
No, it
talking,
is for everyone.
it should be. There's
The whole
there's
family.
the whole family. But if we're talking about like my favorite movies and the ones that blew me away, and that like, this was maybe the best theater experience, this one absolutely blew me away. I've thought about it so much more than any other movie. It really stuck with me. And this is going to be one that is going to be really fun to show people going forward to in the future. I bought the Blu-ray physical media guy, and I'm excited to pop it on and show people. So
I love it. Yeah, I all the same. I did rewatch it recently because I was again, like I felt so good about my list. I was like, you know what? I actually want to like enjoy the movies that I have on here. So this is one of the ones that I rewatched, and I had this thought. Tell me what you think. This might be crazy.
Okay.
Julian Ducournau, director of both Raw, Titan, and I'm thinking to myself, I think she needs one more film, and she's coming for the NWR kind of crown, like the film bro-y, synthy, like cool original thing, that is really, really cool right now. But if it gets too cool, people might start shitting on it.
Yep.
And I'm waiting for it. It's going to be one more of these like wild, crazy films.
Yep.
Where like film Twitter loses their mind, and maybe for good reason, but like all good things, there's going to be some like weird, stupid backlash in the internet. And that was just like a thing that went through my head as I was like going through and watching it. What do you think about that?
I could definitely see it happening. Yeah, NWR sort of hasn't done something in a while, but yeah, it definitely got to that point with him with the film bros. Wasn't his last thing Neon Demon?
Excuse me.
Did I miss something?
You are, and well, I guess I don't know. I don't really want to forgive you, but I know your aversion to TV, but I'm a proud completionist.
That's right. Yeah.
That and Twin Peaks: The Return. I'm not going to get you started. Those are some Xbox achievements for me, getting through both of those series. So, Too Old to Die Young. Come on, man. Tell her. Let's go.
Yeah, I never ended up finishing that. So what's your number one?
We made it another year, and this is a film that Luke has not seen. Any guesses?
Evangelion.
It is number one. Neon Genesis, Evangelion, 3+1 Thrice Upon a Time. That is my number one film of 2021. And I love it so much. I can't tell you how much I love this series. This is sort of an ongoing series for the last, I don't know, 20 years. Started off as a TV show. The studio ran out of money. The ending kind of got cut. Then the director of the series is going through a series of depression, and he makes this thing called End of Evangelion, which is an incredible film, but a real downer. And then he just basically starts the series over with these 4 rebuild films, and they're incredible. And this was the last one. It's been long delayed. It's been, I think, over 7 years. I thought the series was done. He had some pit stops to do things like Shin Godzilla, which we both love. But it finally happened, and it released statewide here in 2021. And I love this film so much. I cried a little bit. And it's an incredible story that somehow, some way gives you an uplifting ending, which I never thought was possible for this series. So that is it. That is my number one film of 2021.
Did you see this in a theater?
No, I did not. I watched it at like 12:51 at night, the night it came out, and I was tired, but it was quite the ride. Quite the film too. I don't know that if it's like my favorite film in the rebuild series. I still think that's number 2, but I couldn't believe that they found a way to sort of land the ship and do it in a way that didn't feel like forced, like the end of Game of Thrones or something like that. Like it's insane. The first like hour of this movie is like, it's just meandering, you know. It's like it's going through the countryside, and you really sort of wonder, like, okay, are we gonna like do this or what? And then you know, it doesn't disappoint. But that's it. That's my favorite film of the year. It's one of my favorite series or really pieces of media in existence. Anyone that knows me knows I make everything about Evangelion, but that's how it goes. So,
yeah, I mean, this 2021 was a big year in a lot of ways. Maybe the biggest thing to happen was that you came to my Halloween party for the first time, and of course you went as you had to pull out the Evangelion tribute for that too.
Right, yeah, I went as Shinji, so so there you go. Wasn't a last second
not at all
costume at all.
No.
Which I am the king of, and I will continue to do. So, there it is, 2021. Some of our most anticipated films that we've been looking forward to and watching trailers of. I think I watched the Lamb trailer like over 160 times.
Yeah.
And they all came out, and I thought for the most part we didn't have there wasn't like huge swings and misses, you know. I didn't really feel let down at any point. Me either. There weren't any big like anticipatory ones that really missed, so that was nice. I do have a couple honorable mentions that I wanted to hit. Obviously Lamb made your list. I'll leave off the ones that you had on your list, but The Matrix Resurrections, we didn't talk about this, but that almost made my list. I somehow loved it. Really?
Yeah, it's just how meta it was. I was not expecting that at all, and how weird, like they really went for it with that, and I appreciate it because I'm not a huge love the first Matrix. The other Matrix sequels I don't care about. So the fact that they were like made it as hey, look, Warner Brothers is forcing us to make this, so we're just gonna make it, was kind of a interesting take for me. I like that a lot. Werewolves Within. There was a werewolf movie that came out this year that didn't make my list, guys.
I thought for sure it was going to be on there.
Yeah, it was tough that it didn't make it. I really liked it a lot. It was cool that I got to see it as part of the Tribeca Film Festival this year. and it was really good. I really liked it. Loved Josh Rubin, but it just didn't quite make it for me, unfortunately. Tick Tick Boom, I found myself loving. That was part of my musical series that I've been doing with my sister. That was a musical that came out on Netflix, and I found myself really loving it. I thought the music was really good. It was very interesting. I really liked that one a lot. And one that I wanted to put on my list, but it did come out in 2020. It's a Canadian film, but it didn't really get talked about until February of 2021, but it technically came out in October 2020, so I didn't put it on here. But it's The Kid Detective. This was the most recommended movie by me to people. It's a really, really interesting idea. It's a super tight movie. It's just under 90 minutes, but it's basically like a Hardy Boys-esque, like this guy was a kid growing up, and he would solve these little like mysteries, and he had a little tree house. People would be like, oh, my cat went missing, and his big case was finding who stole the fundraising money. And then what ends up happening is hold on. So then what happens is one of his classmates gets kidnapped, and she just always goes missing, and they expect him to find her. She doesn't. Cut to, he's 30 years old now. He's like an alcoholic. He's still trying to solve these bullshit mysteries, and he hates it. And then like another mystery comes along that like this girl's boyfriend was murdered. She wants him to try and solve it. He feels like he's a failure and kind of a drunk, but he decides to do it to try and get redemption. And it's just this great
list.
Yeah, well, it didn't come out in 2021. Otherwise, I would have.
Number one.
Yeah, maybe number one. But it's a great movie. It's just a great concept, and it's tight. It doesn't waste time, and it's very unique. And I loved it. And so that's a big rec that I want to throw out there. But
yeah, yeah. Like I said, deep. I was trying to think of movies that would have been on my list last year that missed this year, and so I came up with 21 movies total, counting our top 10 here, that I thought would have made my list last year. So Wrong Turn, loved it. I know you hated it.
Yeah, we
disagree. Censor, a movie I just watched a couple nights ago, thought that was fun. Card Counter, Paul Schrader, Oscar Isaac, just playing cards in the casino. Like, that's like catnip for me. I really like that movie. The Alpinist, less likable, Alex Holland climbing stuff. No Time to Die, I really enjoyed it. Just Bond, Anna de Armas. The Rescue, Jimmy Chin, just filming incredible things in the world. Love that guy. VHS 1994, fun. Blood Red Sky, fun. Horror. And then 2 documentaries besides the 2 that we kind of mentioned here. A Little Blurry, the Billie Eilish documentary, like that feels like it came out 100 years ago. And then the Tiger Doc. Fucking Tiger Doc, man. Incredible film. So yeah, so many good movies this year.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think we did pretty well here. So
yeah, we did. And like you said, it was a jam-packed year. I don't know what 2022 is going to look like, since we've kind of toward the end of the year, we've got more delays and things have kind of reverted back to where we left them in 2020. Right. So we'll see what that brings. But either way, I'm looking forward to it. There's always a lot of good movies, and I'm just grateful that that 2021 was such a great year for film. And yeah, I hope we get a bunch of good ones in 2022. And we'll sure as shit be going to the state to see him. So
yes, please.
Please, yeah.
No more Cinemark. Oh my god.
No more. Yeah, never again. But yes,
that's all I got, buddy.
Yeah. Well, that was a good one. Best list, best episode every year. You can check me out on Twitter at Luke Larson89. Find this podcast at L Squared Podcast on Instagram, on Twitter. We're on Facebook at L2 Podcasts. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We're on YouTube. Check us out. Let us know what your top 10 favorite films were of 2021. And until next time.
Peace.